Hello. I'm Alex Mack, part of the Call to Action crew, and I'm here with a Schmoebates champion, but also one of the, my opinion, one of the best, people on the Finstock Exchange to help me really go into this Finstock Exchange themed debate today. Thanks so much for coming on, Ben.
Alex, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm wearing my Dollface shirt, rest in peace, commemorating our old friend. I've got my fancy belt here. I'm very excited about today's show. And, I've had a little attitude in my recent appearances on this channel, but you know what? It's all respect today. I'm not competing. I don't need to get in anyone's head. I'm just here to call a fair game.
As long as you're not competing against anyone, I can definitely see where you're coming from for sure. All right. If you guys aren't familiar with Schmoebates, thanks so much for checking us out. Schmoebates is a debate show themed on, asking Schmoedown's biggest, weirdest, and most necessary questions that need answers pronto. And so we are going to be going into it here pretty soon. So we actually have two competitors that are going to be debating three big questions, actually. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. We have our first competitor. He's never debated before. However, he's definitely a fan favorite when it comes to SCN. And definitely, you might recognize him for some music videos. Maybe. I don't know if you recognize him, but it is Justin the Juice.
What's going on?
Hey.
Excited to be here.
Man, those sunglasses are pretty fantastic, I have to say.
Thank you. Ready to rock and roll? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you here. Appreciate your support on the various Action Patreons, and I'm excited to see you compete here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Do my best.
Have you ever competed on the generals debate, Justin?
No, I don't make enough money to be a general, so we'll see. No, maybe in the future. Maybe. We'll see how I do here today.
One day for sure. It's a fun time. Absolutely. No pressure, obviously, debating with the general. All right. And our next competitor is one of my favorite Star Wars competitors of all time. Also part of the Finstock Exchange, and Mr. Andrew Dimalanta. Oh my gosh. That's one of my favorite Schmoedown podcasts ever.
Yeah. I don't often hear that in recent memory. I don't think, perspective is your reality, but yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. Last time I was on the show, I was a judge, so it's exciting to be on this side of the table for once, but yeah, excited to be here.
Well, I know you're no stranger to challenges and all that good stuff, but we're actually going to have you officially debate with a hardcore purpose for sure. It's going to be intense.
Should be fun.
Mm-hmm. Ben, do you have any advice, debating advice going into this for Andrew, your faction mate?
I would just say for both of you guys, first of all, Andrew, there's zero chance I'll be biased, at all. I'm a fan of you and what you do, but I am fair. And then the second thing is, Andrew, I'll be listening intently to all of your arguments, and Justin, I will be ignoring all of yours. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think my advice to you guys both is just make sure you listen. Make sure you listen to everything that the other person's saying, because your arguments are important, but your rebuttals are just as important.
Yeah, absolutely. Potentially even more important depending on what side you're going for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you guys, thanks so much for coming in. Just want to say hi to some people in the chat. Mr. Alan Smithy, General. Yes. What up, Alan?
Salute, Director.
The Director. Jake Yakavetta, he is amazing. Also part of C2A. RIP Dollface. I do miss her quite a bit. She was wonderful. All right. And do want to let y'all know is that, even though it is, me and Ben up here, I'm not the one that's going to be determining the winner today. It's going to be Ben and our ghost judge, as well as you guys. We are actually going to be having a ghost judge, a mystery judge. That's going to be revealed at the end of the episode. They're going to be determining the winner with Ben here, and they're going to be kind of going over who's going to be debating better. But at the end of the day, if they don't even decide, they're going to be actually having a tiebreaker through your votes on through the website, essentially. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the format here in a hot second. Just want to bring this up. Thank you again to Jake. 3 questions will be debated, with the winner being determined by the guest and co-host ghost judge. If there is a tie, the audience vote serves as the tiebreaker. The round format: 60 seconds for opening statements at 1 apiece, and a 4-minute of open debate and 60 seconds in the closing statements. The final round order is determined by the host flipping the coin, the action coin. Usually it's action coin, but forgive me with my regular quarter. But the winner must win at least plays 2 of the 3 rounds to be the winner. But each competitor does have 1 30-second of uninterrupted time extension to use at any time during these debates. Knowing that, Andrew, Justin, do you guys have any questions?
No questions.
No questions. All right, we're going to dive into it. For the first question, Ben, can you please do the honors?
Yeah, so the very first question for tonight is going to be, which Finstock Exchange singles competitor is most likely to get to the final round of the singles tournament?
A lot of options, a lot of potential options. We're going to be starting with Justin. You have 1 minute on the clock to let us know your pick, starting now.
Finstock Exchange is the best. Every one of their competitors could easily make the final 4 because there's no loser behavior in Gucci's faction. However, there is one competitor that brings and elevates the entire Finstock Exchange. Most of the Finstock Exchange members have admitted to taking breaks from studying when quarantine happened, not really focusing that much on the game. Not this competitor. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why my pick for who will be in the finals representing the Finstock Exchange is the Barbarian. Even Roca believes that the Barbarian is the best and that he'll become a 4-belted champion. And he is completely amazed about how much that the Barbarian knows. Barbarian is constantly in the game, studying, quizzing his teammates, watching matches. Nobody wants it more than the Barbarian. Even guys like Roca, after losing to Irwin, he wasn't sure if he was going to enter the tournament. He was like, I don't know. I'm like 90% sure I'll enter the tournament. Barbarian, there is no question. He also has Elvis, which gives him the answers to all the questions. I yield the rest of my time.
Time. Oh, all right.
Ooh, yield the time there with 2 seconds remaining. Ballsy strategy there by Justin the Juice.
Yeah, bringing up Elvis. Risky factor for sure. Okay, well, over to Andrew. You too have 1 minute on the clock to let us know for your pick for Exchange singles competitor most likely get to the final round, starting now.
So this was hard for me to pick because it's like picking your favorite child. It's like how do you pick out of the people that we have in the exchange? Like Justin said, we have heavy hitters. Doesn't matter who you pick. It's just, but I had to pick somebody, and this is somebody I've been a fan of forever that I've watched Schmoedown, and it's John Roca. How do you bet against the Outlaw? Yeah, he lost to Irwin, but we've seen Roca come back from a loss and hit it heavy. Every time Roca has stumbled, even a little bit, he's come back even stronger. And just looking at the brackets, there's more heavy hitters than where Barbarian is. There's maybe Tom and Paul in Roca's bracket, but Barbarian has a harder run to the final. Roca arguably maybe has a little bit easier, but what I'm banking on is experience and the fact that he comes back harder every time, and he's coming off the loss from Irwin, and he is just itching for that win, and I think he'll make it to the final.
Okay, these are great picks, both of them.
He throws down the gauntlet. He throws down the gauntlet with John Roca. I mean, for all the hype behind Barbarian, for as big of a fan as I am, you invoke the Outlaw. It's hard to not immediately just perk up, So big, strong arguments from both of these guys here.
Well, I feel like they're going to have to do quite a bit of impressing because obviously both are pretty darn fantastic. However, one obviously has a belt. I mean, does have the team's belt. One of them's a rookie, but, a fantastic rookie at that. Definitely in contention for Rookie of the Year, obviously. So a lot of things to argue. You guys do have 4 minutes of open debate to really kind of dive into and stick each other's teeth into each other's arguments. Starting right now.
Roca's working on like 50 shows. He barely has time to study. He finally got a little time to study for Irwin, but probably the only reason he did that well is because the Barbarian was helping him train. That's not going to be a thing anymore. Barbarian has been eating, sleeping, petting Elvis, dreaming, just thinking about the Schmoedown.
I mean, I'm in the chat. I know exactly what Barbarian is doing, and Barbarian's helped me as well. But again, this is his rookie year. We've never seen a tournament like this, to this caliber in the Schmoedown. I mean, look how many heavy hitters are in this tournament. And arguably, yes, again, Barbarian isn't on a harder side of the bracket, so he's got to go up against Bibiani. He's got to go against Whitney. It's just, there's so many heavy hitters on that side. Ellis is coming in. Chance Ellis is coming in hot off of that IG tournament, so he's hitting it hard as well. So when you think about tournaments, when you think about study tactics. And Roca has said himself, he's elevated his game. I didn't know Roca can have another level. I thought he had reached his pinnacle. And I've doubted Roca in that aspect before, but the fact that he's able to just play this long, experience speaks volumes in the Schmoedown. And I don't think really, aside from, we've only seen Barbarian in a singles match one time. So we don't know exactly like how he'll perform match after match after match. Playing in a tournament is very taxing. It's very, I just got finished playing one. Playing week after week after week is taxing. Does Barbarian have that in him? I believe he does, but I know Roca has it in him. I know Roca has it in him to go week after week after week after week and playing these high profile matches.
I wouldn't be sure because Roca, I mean, I wouldn't call missing a pretty easy director's question in sudden death because his manager didn't give him a good enough pep talk, being Roca getting to the next level. I would say that while Barbarian hasn't competed a lot before, but he has so much trivia experience and being in the bar trivia. We heard about those bar trivias that he would compete in and that he was doing well better than even Ben and Erwin were doing. Roca has said, Barbarian has impeccable recall. Barbarian's not going to flub. I know that we haven't seen a lot of him. He's done incredible so far, but he also has played more matches virtually than Roca has. We've seen Roca struggled with the virtual matches. He needs Gucci to give him like that, like head-to-head, face-to-face pep talk for him to stay in the game. Any little thing he could flub. And regarding Bibiani and Whitney and them, Barbarian has that same head-level knowledge that we praise Bibiani for, but he also has a gameplay, and he has people like Ben Bateman to help him study the game, and not really anyone on the Quirky Mercs can really prepare Bibiani for that. I can keep going.
Unless you guys going to yield their time. I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
Both of you yield your time? I mean...
Yeah,
I'll yield it. That's what I want to say.
Wow. All right. Concise arguments, Alex. These are razor sharp, laser pointer arguments.
Okay, there's kind of a lot to dive into that one. Okay, Ben, what were some of your big takeaways from both these competitors?
You know, it's interesting. I think we're going off a lot of theoretical knowledge here with the Barbarian, and as great of a point as you can make, it's pretty hard to argue with experience. I think, you know, John Roca has obviously done very well. I think that I think the other big takeaway though is that, you know, John did lose in that match against Erwin, you know, stumbling, you know, not having that face-to-face pep talk from Gucci. It's a little bit telling. And we also know that John has another match in the Founding Fathers title match that's coming up very soon as well. So it's true that he is very distracted. He has a lot going on in his life. He's running an entire network. He's doing a ton of shows. That resonated with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to think about, but also with Craig, also, you know, he, as far as I've been told, you know, he's doing a lot of, I don't want to say managing, but he's definitely taking on a kind of trainer leadership role within the faction to help, you know, really help train and really work with a lot of competitors on a very regular basis. So, you know, obviously they both have a lot of really great benefits to not only being in the faction, but as competitors, they're both fantastic. Okay, so with that being said, okay, Ben, what is something you really need to hear for them to be like, okay, game over, I vote in favor of this person?
I need to understand why it's beyond just the knowledge. Craig is going to be able to win that many matches. It's a very hard thing to do right now in this tournament to go from 32 to 16 to 8 to 4 to 2. You know, to get to that finals, you have to win 4 matches in a row. The record, I think, is 7. A couple people have done 6, and only a few people have ever done 5. So to do it, one of these guys, like he's gonna have to elevate to another level. I need to understand what it is about Craig that you really believe he's capable of doing exactly that. Not just winning. A couple matches is one thing. Winning 4 matches in a row is something else entirely. And because he already beat Klee, that would make it 5, that's what I had to do to win the titles, 5 matches. So that's the big question I've got for you. And then for Roca, I need to understand exactly the thing I don't understand yet, which is he is so busy. He's doing so much. He's preparing for multiple belts. How does he get around the fact that when he gets a little unfocused, he tends to lose his footing?
Absolutely, for sure. It's a lot of pressure, and it can, you know, at the end of the day, as much as I have a hard time believing it sometimes, competitors like yourselves are human and things happen. It's very hard to kind of not only keep focused, but like really not only be able to have the knowledge, but keep focused during the actual game itself and everything leading up to it. All right. Okay. So we are going to be going over to the closing statements. And just want to let you guys know, we are going to be, Jake is going to be putting the link up here in a hot second once we wrap up the closing statements. So you can go ahead and vote then, but wait until, you know, the closing statements are ahead. Okay. So you guys have 1 minute on the clock. Again, we are going to be starting with Justin here with your closing statements. You have 1 minute right now.
Yeah. So the Barbarian does have some tournament experience. He just went for the Inner Geekdom through the Inner Geekdom tournament. Yeah, he won 2 rounds, but that was a tournament he wasn't really even studying for. He just kind of was last second. Oh, Exchange needs another member. I'll do it. And he won 2 matches. Barbarian's been training for singles and teams and that, like the normal movie trivia, for his entire life. He will be ready. He has just as much knowledge as Bibiani. He has just as much knowledge. He has way more knowledge than Chance. And he has way more. He's got the training, gameplay experience that he has being in the Finstock Exchange for as long as he have. Roka will just, you know, he's very hit or miss. I love the guy, but you never know what you're going to get with Roka. Barbarian has proven to be cool, calm, and collective in every match he's played. He hasn't stumbled. He hasn't made any errors. He has been great. There's no reason that I see that he has just as good a chance as any single other person. I yield the rest of my time.
Yielding the remaining 7 seconds. Bold move right there. Okay, and over to, I'm sorry?
I said it's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off.
It's intense. It's a very bold strategy for sure. Coming in strong for sure. We're going to be moving on to Andrew. You also have 1 minute on the clock to really go in and really get Roka up there as well. You have 1 minute on the clock starting now.
Yeah, the fact that he's busy, we're all busy. I mean, Ben, you're probably busy. I'm busy, you know, with all the stuff I'm working. I don't think that's a distraction for Roka. I mean, he says he sets time every single day to study, and that's his strategy. So it will come to play. And again, I'm banking on experience. 2-time singles champion, 2-time teams belt champion, current teams champion. So the fact that he might stumble here and there, who doesn't stumble? I mean, but the fact that I know Barbarian is that kind of player that when he wants to be perfect, and when he does stumble a bit, it kind of gets in his head a little bit. He wants to prove something. We saw that in the IG tournament. He wants to prove a certain thing, and it might end up biting him in the rear end in that aspect. So I want to go with the player that has the experience for put pressure on himself and pressure by not only himself but the faction and all the fans. And you've seen that he is a pressure player. He's a pressure competitor. When the pressure's on, he doesn't buckle. So that's why I go with
time. So it sounds like both competitors are, like you said, Roka is very comfortable with the pressure, but he's also able to balance his schedule accordingly for studying effectively. That's what I heard. Okay, now we are, in the meantime, we're going to be having our ghost judge and Ben. They're going to be, chatting, one-on-one and a private chat to really let us know who they think is the winner of this first question. So you guys can feel free to kind of go back and forth in there. But in the meantime, we are going to be waiting a few minutes. And also, okay. And okay, so you guys can vote right down here. You can do it in the hyperlink below in the description box as well. Oh, real quick. Okay, I see you. Okay, and sorry, just reading this chat is getting really intense. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move over to the chat real quickly in here. I always appreciate a good dodgeball reference. Who made a good dodgeball reference in here?
That was my reference. The bold strategy, Cotton. That's from that.
I forgot about that. What's your favorite sports movie, Ben? Do you have one?
Yeah, it's Warrior. 100%. My favorite film of all time.
Remember the Titans? Anybody?
Remember, is a good one. Yeah, the Miracle. Love
Rudy.
Mm-hmm. I swear, if James didn't get that question. I remember the Titans question from in the match today. I would have been like, again.
It's a controversial question though, because I think he's actually referred to as a linebacker in the question. I think technically in the film he's a cornerback or a safety. I think he might play linebacker at one point in the movie? Maybe, but I think that could have been challenged. That's a challengeable question.
Very challengeable. Okay. Justin, what do you think about competing in your first movie?
That was fun. Yeah, didn't know what to expect. Didn't know if like my brain was going to go totally blank and I wasn't going to say a coherent sentence, but it was fun.
It's very. I'm one of those people personally that anxiety gets to me. That's why, like, I remember like when I did my generals debate with like the best trilogy of all time, I was like looking at my notes the entire time because I'm not a good debater. That's why I host. I don't debate all that much, and I'm like reading my stack of notes at all times. Pretty much see me doing this. I'm sorry.
You did pretty phenomenal on that, though. I mean, you were like very well prepared. I felt like you came with strong arguments that day.
Because of those notes, essentially.
Yes.
But if I didn't have those notes, I would have been like, everyone looks cool, and who doesn't like Paris? I mean, who doesn't? Attractive people. Later. That would have been me the entire time. It does kill me though, looking back, that when he made I can't remember who made the joke about being I selected like a hipster pick. It kills me. I wish I had said he was talking about the Sergio Leone Western, and I just want to say you picked a Western spaghetti Western trilogy that people haven't seen unless you're a movie person that no one knows.
It's true. Call Sign Freedom went with that is truly almost like the more hipster pick at this point is Call Sign Freedom's pick of the.
I'm like so regretful of that as a result. Okay. We do have 30 seconds remaining, so I'm going to need a solid answer from both Ben as well as Tom in the private chat, but we are also going to be going over to the I am going to be able to pull up the votes as well.
Yeah, we've got we have both wagered, guest judge and I have both wagered our picks here, and we share the same opinion.
Oh, you do? Okay. I must have like missed in here. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Where was that? I'm sorry. I'm reading through the chat and I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Let me just wait. It's four of us in here, right? It's
the last one.
So
wait.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's the pick there.
All right. So do we? I guess we have a difference of opinion for this one. For this first question, I hear.
Wait, really? What's going on here?
Do we not?
No. We agreed with.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I apologize to everyone in the chats and everyone. I apologize ahead of time. Yeah, it's kind of
got my hopes up
between the different names. Okay, so our winner for the first question by a hair, and that is a direct quote from our ghost competitor, is Andrew Dimalanta, winning 2 out of the 3 votes.
Dimalanta gets the win here with Pick and Roca. It's by a hair. Ultimately, the guest judge and I talked about it and felt that as much as we believe in Barbarian, and we do, it is just by a hair for experience. Roca's always been busy, and he still managed to be a 4-time champ. So, to believe that Barbarian's going to do something no one's ever done before, I believe it. But if I'm a betting man, I've got to bet on Roca. It's hard to not bet on the guy. So really the arguments were pretty even, but we take Dimalanta there with the first one.
For the record, I love John. Outlaw, don't come at me.
Barbarian, you know how much I love you, buddy.
I think we can all agree. We all love both Craig and Roca over here for sure.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, but Dimalanta for the win of the first question. So, my dude, Justin, you're definitely going to have to work extra hard going into this next question for sure.
No more yielding time.
Definitely no more yielding. Yes, absolutely. All right, Ben, would you please do the honor in reading our second question?
Yes. All right. Our second question for you two from this season. What is the best match that Bobby Gucci, a.k.a. Finstock, a.k.a. Tom and Dagnino, has managed? This includes promos, challenges, etc.
Mm-hmm. And also considering, Andrew, also you are a competitor, obviously you can include personal experiences. Mm-hmm. All right. You do have 1 minute on the clock. Andrew will be starting with you for your opening statements. Are you ready?
Yes.
Starting now.
So it's hard to go back an entire season and look at like all the plethora of matches, but I went with something very recent and something that I found to be a really strategic win for Gucci managing, and it's the IG match between Halavic and Barbarian. So I think the match here was won in the second round, and you just call it luck, call it karma, whatever. But like the fact that Barbarian lands on MCU and Gucci says we can take it off the wheel for him because we know that is a strength of Adam Halavic. And Barbarian's like, I feel good about it, but I want to go somewhere else. But he's like, let's take it off the wheel. So we spins it away, does pretty good with MCU. Halavic lands on MCU on his second spin. So that could have been big. Then it goes opponent's choice. Knowing the opponent with Halavic not that hard to know that he's not good in Middle Earth, put Middle Earth, and this is where the round is won. The fact that Gucci was able to tell Barbarian, go with the MCU, we'll take it off the wheel, and look what happened. It would have been great.
Look what happened, and it
60 seconds goes by really fast. Jesus.
Right?
I had so many more points I wanted to hit, but whatever.
It seems like it would be a long time, but it's like, oh, shoot, that's a lot.
Like,
okay, so we are going to be moving over to Justin. You also have 1 minute on the clock for your opening statement. Are you ready, my dude?
I'm ready. Yes, juice is loose.
Starting now.
We all know Gucci's the greatest manager of all time, and that's just facts. But here's more facts. We all know that Tom Dagnino, Bobby Finstock, Bobby Gucci, Gucciverse, Count Gucciverse, the GOAT of all managers. He hates these digital matches. It's not where he strives. It's not where he's the best. He has to manage the same way, does the same thing every single match. There is one match, however, that he did much more. There's only so much of that cool, calm, collected aura that he's able to transmit through the screen. But this one of the where he was able to make a major difference. It also involves a shuttle that haunts my opponent's dreams. Sorry. But the greatest match that Gucci has managed this year is Molly Damon versus Andrew Dimalanta. And that's just facts. We saw Andrew's face when he said, shuttle Tiderium. You don't even know what I just said there. It was a crazy challenge. It was a crazy thing. Andrew was completely defeated, and Gucci made that challenge, and yield the rest of my time.
Risky move again. All right. I respect that, though. Okay, so definitely not going to let personal biases get involved, obviously, but these are very great matches, both of them. And obviously, not only for, the competitors, for Gucci did pretty great. Ain't too shabby for sure. Do you have a favorite match that he's managed, Ben, of yours?
I think not that I think I necessarily was improved so much greatly by Gucci, but I do think that Atlanta with Dan, I feel that him being there, I couldn't have imagined having a better manager than Bobby Gucci in that situation, the way he handled all the deflection leading up to the match, all the promos, all the arguing about who was going to manage who. People have said that he bumbled it, but from everything to ratings to all of it, I loved that whole experience of seeing him do it. And for me, it really reminded me why he's the ultimate entertainer, but also the ultimate manager. Ballsy pick by these two. I have to say, Alex, that nobody picked a Riley match, a Bateman match, a Merle match, or a Rocco match. All matches. Yeah. So
there was a lot to choose from, and they decided to go with these kind of like lesser known ones, and also from the season as well. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we are going to be going into the open debate for 4 minutes. Let's hear it, guys. Starting now.
Yeah, so the reason I picked this one is because Gucci said it himself. The way that you're judged by a manager is by managing your later picks. So it's easy to pick the high profile matches and the ones that get all attention. It's the ones that, the lower level competitors that nobody really knows anything about is really when your managing style comes into effect. And I think the fact that he's able to convince Barbarian and say, let's take a strength off the wheel for him. And the fact that he lands on it, that could have been major difference in that match had he not taken MCU off the wheel. It would have been a lot closer. It would have been almost a TKO for Barbarian. So, and the fact that that challenge that he did for my match of the Tiderium situation, I will defend to my life. I said Tiderium. Exactly. So, but the challenge was, I almost like, I wanted to say, let's not challenge that because it's ridiculous. The ruling's the ruling. So, and it came back, it was overruled anyway. So that challenge didn't matter anything in the match. So the fact that he's able to help Barbarian in the second round, which won that match for him, speaks volumes for how he is able to see the game and influence his players to make the correct calls.
I'll explain the challenge in a second, but that was also a huge risk to have Barbarian do the MCU. It ended up working out in hindsight, but you don't know what could have happened. He could have got a lot of questions that he didn't know, and Hlavik could have went against him. It was a risk. But as far as where I was going with the challenge that Gucci made for the Tiderium, so you say the wrong answer. Your face is completely sorry. I'm gonna not say you. I'm gonna say Dimalanta. Dimalanta says the answer. His face is completely defeated, and Gucci sees that. He knows he has to give Dimalanta time to refocus, to readjust. You wouldn't have been able to. He wouldn't have been able to just go right into the next question without having time. Gucci knew that he wasn't going to win that challenge, but what he did was allowed Dimalanta to have time to refocus, readjust, get ready, get his head back in the game, and keep going. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
So it's like I don't mean to do this, but like you weren't there. You're not in my headspace. This is a problem with picking a match that I'm in. I didn't need that time. I immediately snapped back into it. I knew all those questions right off. It doesn't matter because you saw this with a match with Laura Kelly when I missed 725-1 not writing it. Shake it off and get back into it. Don't miss a single question remainder of that round. So that time really that I really could have used it. Who knows? I wouldn't needed that challenge further down the road because I almost stepped in and said, let's not waste this. We don't need this. Just get back into it and go. So the fact that he gave me more time to get back into my headspace, I immediately got back into the headspace because I knew all the rest of my questions.
You never know. You could say that after the fact, but you never know what could happen. We've seen that happen to Roca. If he had more time, it's happened many times where the competitor just needs a little more time. There's been a big argument for having a 30-second timeout rule. That would have been key for you. I know, like you say, you might not have needed it, but maybe you didn't. Gucci saw your face. Gucci knows his competitors, and that's the best way that he manages. He saw we all saw it. When your face did what it did, we all were like, it's over. He might not be able to recover. Obviously, you knew what you were doing, but Gucci saw that too, and he stepped in. Your match, it was a big risk. The Intergeekdom match with Hlavik. It was a big risk giving Hlavik or having Barbarian take MCU from Hlavik, and it did pay off, but it was a big risk. I think Gucci did a lot more for you than he did for the Barbarian.
Go big or go home. You got big risk, big reward.
All right, so this was a heated one, Alex. Look at this. We have a competitor taking their personal experience to throat punch their opponent here. I mean, that was it's a good move. It's a good move.
That was a snapback that I did not expect. For sure. Okay, so we are going to be going into our closing statements here in a hot second for sure. And I got to say, I'm kind of scared and terrified and excited. Let's do it. All right. Real quickly to the chat. I'm kind of curious of what you guys are thinking so far, but Ben and our ghost judge, I do want to start with Ben again, starting off with you. What do you need to hear from either one of our competitors to really kind of get your vote in their favor today?
Strong arguments. I do think that Dimalanta, using your own personal experience of how you felt to combat the points, a little bit of an unfair advantage that you could just be making up for the sake of winning the match if you wanted to right now. So I can't really let you lay back on that. I kind of need you can use it if you want, but it doesn't play as hard with me. It's a nice snappy moment to throw in Justin the Juice's face, but we're judging it by what the audience saw. And what's in your head is kind of what's in your head. So I do want you to kind of stay away from that when you go to your closing statement here, and talk about maybe, I would love to know if the Tiderium argument was so good, then why wasn't Gucci able to win it? That's what I want to know from you. And then Justin, on your side, when you're talking about the MCU strategy, convince me why it's ever smart to try to take something off the wheel. In regulation, I never believe it. In IG, I've heard the argument before. I need to understand why it is, because keeping something and taking it off the wheel still means that you Well, yeah, I'll see that. That's what I'd like to know. Why is that a good strategy?
Absolutely. When it comes to challenges and picking slices, obviously it's a risk either way, and you just have that kind of connection with your competitor. As a manager, I feel like that's probably one of the most important skills you can have, is having that connection with your competitor and be able to read and recognize effectively what not only do they need in that moment, but also you have to be able to really elaborate and word specifically what challenges need to be issued, because if you're not issuing those challenges correctly, it goes out the window. You can't be like, well, you know what I mean? No, like that's not going to fly. Not in Schmoedown anymore. Okay, we are going to be going into our closing statements. We are going to be starting again with Andrew for your closing statement. Are you ready, my dude?
Yep.
All right. You have 60 seconds on the clock, starting now.
Yeah. So like I said, you said yourself that Finstock, Tom knows his players. He knows when he needs to suggest things. He knows when he needs to calm them down. In this case, it's Barbarian was like, well, maybe I should go. I'm competent enough in MCU. I could go somewhere else. But the fact that again, call it luck, call it karma, call it whatever. Luck is a huge part of the game sometimes. And the fact that they got lucky enough that his second spin would have been MCU. It would have been a completely different match had that happened. And the fact that they were able to take it off the wheel speaks volumes about the management style. And he did again. Barbarian didn't do fantastic. He had go check down multiple choice a couple times, but the fact that they were able to get a spinner's opponent's choice off of this strategy works. And again, go big or go home. It could have came back and bit him in the ass on that, but it didn't, because they got lucky enough that it panned out the way it did. Yield my time. Sorry.
Oh.
Yield my time. Attitude move
today. All right. I mean, that's pretty solid overall. Absolutely. And it comes down to, and I like how you did a lot of, you're really hitting the nail on the head for Justin's comebacks as well. All right. And over to you, Justin. Are you ready for your closing statement?
Once again, the juice is loose.
The juice is loose. Starting now.
So yeah, the Barbarian, with Barbarian alive, it was a good match, but it didn't really showcase Gucci in that special way. And I think one of the reasons why it's not always a great strategy, again, like I said before, it's a big risk. I think that the chance that you have for your opponent to make a lot of steals should be avoided at like all cost. I think it would have been smarter. It could have been smarter to go for another thing, but that's not also really the point that I think when we're looking at the question, what is the best one that Gucci managed? Gucci just had like a second there of, just kind of saying Gucci does what Gucci does, kind of saying what he says. But with the Dimalanta match, he was able to make an actual deep impact of giving Dimalanta more time. He knows his competitors more than anyone else. He saw what he saw and he knew what he had to do. Risking the challenge, doing whatever. He knew he had to get Dimalanta's head back in the game.
Beat ya. Okay, so now we just wrapped up our second question, and at this time, we're going to be going to our private chats between our ghost judge as well as Ben. They're going to be letting me know who should win this round as well, but they're going to let us know, but we're not going to reveal that winner until the very end. We just kind of want to give the extra little push as well. Okay, so we are going to be moving on to the third and final question, and here pretty soon. All right, and also everyone go vote in round 2. So that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty darn awesome. Do want to sign off real quick saying also blame Jake for everything all the time. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat that's really kind of going either way. The juice is on fire. Oh, Nat's in the chat. Hey. Dimas absolutely killed it in Star Wars Tourney. He brought the intensity. We wanted to see win or lose. Any competitor will be free to play him in the future. Facts. Very facts. Factoid. Okay, let's go ahead and bring it up for our final question.
Final question, guys. Final question.
Final question.
I'm excited, Alex. I'm really excited about this one. And to be honest with you, if I could argue this question, I would. I want to, but I just have to sit back here as the champion and listen to you guys.
No pressure, guys. Champion present. Absolutely. All right, guys. We are going to be using the coin to determine who is going to go first. I'm sorry, I do not have my action coin. It is off in the basement somewhere. Oh, you can flip it if you like. Absolutely.
You got the action coin right here.
You can flip it. Please flip that coin. Yeah.
All right. Who calls this? Because 80 got the first round? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's, I guess Drew can be Boom, if you're going with that one.
Yeah, if you want to call, you can tell me you want the Boom side here, or do you want the 5th anniversary side?
I'll do the 5th anniversary side.
All right, here we go. And it is the Boom side officially. So we are going to get the choice there from Justin, the Juice.
I'll go first.
You want to go first? Okay. Please do the honor in reading our final question, Ben.
Final question for tonight, and possibly the win. What competitor would most improve and succeed by joining the Finstock Exchange?
I have to say, Ben, did joining the Finstock Exchange change you as a competitor?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that, Alex. I distinctly remember where I was. I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I got the phone call from Christian, and he said, "Hey, you know what? There's a thing I have in mind. I think you should join the Horsemen." This is before the exchange had a name, and I said, "Absolutely no way. There's never going to happen. I'm never going to play on a team with Roca and Dan. That'll never happen. I'm with Riley, and that's where I'm staying." And he said, "Trust me, it'll be the best thing for your career. Trust me. Just think about it." And I told Andrew, and he said, "No way, never happened. You should never do it." And after a few months, finally, kind of talked into it. And since then, it is pretty sweet in the Schmoedown to be flanked by such great players. I mean, it's crazy that often in that equation, Mark Riley gets denigrated to the 4th best. And Mark Riley, in my opinion, is one of the greatest players that's ever played the game, which is a crazy, crazy place to be. Not to mention all the up-and-coming talent we have. We have a future Star Wars champ sitting here. We've obviously got the Barbarian. We have Sabrina. There's so many players that are incredible. So I think the answer to the question, it has been Schmoedown life-changing. And I've made great friends out of it too. So,
I think, I feel like that really kind of summarizes a lot of our experiences. Really helps make great friends across the board. All right. We got to go into our final question. Okay. So we're going to be starting with you, Justin. The coin did go in your favor. We'll be starting with you for the opening statement. You have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready to give us your answer?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Starting now.
So with this question, it's not just about who can be improved by the Finstock Exchange, but who can improve the Finstock Exchange. Only one competitor, solely under the guidance of the Finstock Exchange, could lead them to what seems to be that unreachable belt, the Inner Geekdom belt. Who could bring him that belt? Saul. Saul had a fantastic debut with potential, but he's held back right now by Kate and the Den. Kate and the Den are young and experienced. Love them. They're great. But Saul needs a home of legends and veterans. Finstock Exchange already has singles and teams belt. They have a Star Wars contender. And they need that Inner Geekdom, one Inner Geekdom person who could become a superstar. And Saul showed so much potential after that first match. Imagine Saul having guys like Barbarian, Ben Bateman pouring into him. Also, he might not even need that because Saul has already proven to have fantastic mic skills, and putting Saul next to Gucci to cut a promo, their opponent will probably just wet their pants and give up before it starts. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Oh, gosh. Keeping it going. Saul, that is a very interesting pick. Very risky pick, but gosh darn it. I agree with you on a lot of those points, for sure.
That might be the ballsiest pick. That might be the ballsiest pick I've ever heard on Schmoebates, I got to say. If you asked me to submit 20 options, I don't even know if I would have picked Saul in 20. So there you go.
I wonder
Said
if
the juice was loose.
All right, and over to Andrew. We got to know your pick. Who do you want as your faction mate? Who would help you improve? Who would help improve the faction overall? You also have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, starting now.
So I picked another ballsy pick, and it's hard to think of competitors outside my division. And I'm going with the pure question, not like who will improve the faction, who will benefit the players themselves. And I'm looking at Adam Witt. Now, the best thing that Gucci has done for me, at least, is look at my game and see where I need to improve the most. Wasn't knowledge, and it wasn't certain other places. It was slowing down, taking the questions as they come, and looking at Adam Witt's match with Molly Damon. He gets a little flustered. Those challenges, in my opinion, were passion challenges, and I think somebody like Gucci to come in and say, "Calm down a little bit. Let's take the game question by question. Let's focus in on what we need to do." Is be beneficial to a player like Adam. And Adam's not just a single Star Wars player. He's a singles player. He's a team player. So everything that he learns from Gucci, he can take in within multiple divisions. So I think that's who would benefit, not improve the faction, but improve the individual player. And that's what I'm saying.
Potentially adding another Star Wars competitor to your faction. Interesting pick. Oh, man. We got one super duper ballsy pick, you know, great pomos, everything, but he's only played one match with all the potential in the world, obviously, but also another competitor that has played in multiple leagues, but also a competitor that also would be, in theory, his own direct competition. So,
as Christian would so passionately correct you if he were here, Alex, divisions. Not league. He likes to tell us. He likes to yell at us.
I yell at people about that all the time.
I mean, come on.
So I think they're two really interesting picks, Alex. And I guess my question to these two competitors is, so I really like the Adam Witt pick because I think Witt has shown some proficiency in singles and teams. Obviously, the Exchange has great players, so probably could pair him with a good player. But obviously, you're bringing him over as a Star Wars competitor. Here's the thing, though. Really, truly, is Adam Witt going to have any chance, even by improving, of actually taking that spot from you? That's what I need to know, because I know Gucci drafted you, and I was all about drafting you, with Gucci for a reason. And so is Adam Witt really the guy that under the tutelage of Gucci could potentially surpass you? Does he bring enough value in teams and singles to make that pick worth it? And then on the Saul pick, Justin, because this is as ballsy a pick as I have heard. What is it about Saul? One match, one loss, did play well, went to the end against Brandon Hanna. What is it about Saul that convinces you from a knowledge perspective that this is a guy that's going to be able to actually hang with the Mike Kalinowskis and Kevin Smets and the Chandra the Chosens of the world? What is it? What have you seen from him as a player that convinces you he's going to be able to actually get the job done?
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of really great points Ben just made. And absolutely, I also am kind of curious how the chemistry would be, with the faction. How would they actually fit in with, like you said, the faction is a group of guys. It's a group of, and Sabrina, and, a group of friends, like, genuinely. So I kind of am curious to see how that chemistry would mesh with this really awesome group of people. Okay, so we are going to be going into our final open debate. You guys have 4 minutes to really impress us with some fancy 25-cent words. Let's do it. You guys have 4 minutes starting now.
You guys asked me to bring up all the things that I was going to bring up. So here's the thing. Adam needs to be the main Star Wars focus on, or he needs to be the main Star Wars guy in whatever faction he's competing on. Bringing him onto a faction with already another Star Wars player, that just seems pointless to me. The Dungeon tried to do the dual IG thing. Look what happened to them. The Finstock Exchange needs to put all of their Star Wars focus into one player, so one person can get the belt. Finstock Exchange already has too many singles and teams players also to add another player. Witt's a great dude. He's a great leader. Kaiser kept him out of the tournament to help train. Witt loves that casual dudes talking movies. He's not going to want to join the well-oiled, heavy training machine that is the Finstock Exchange. Witt wants to work at a video store, not a factory.
So we're speaking hypotheticals, obviously, and hypothetically speaking, not all of us are going to be here next year. It's a hard truth. You only get to pick. You only get to protect 3 players. Who knows who those 3 players are going to be? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be Ben? Is it going to be Barbarian? The team will shift next year. There's no doubt about that. So again, hypothetically speaking, if I'm not available, and you can't pick up any other players, Witt shows some potential. He just needs to grease the wheels here and there. And I chose Witt because I took the question a little too literally. Like, what player would improve? Not improve the faction, but what player would be improved the most? And I think that Witt would benefit having a manager like Gucci, because Dagnino doesn't seem to get what Adam needs. And knowing Gucci from experience, he knew exactly what I needed. And I think that bringing on somebody like Witt, he might be able to help improve those aspects that he needs to improve on.
So you said Dagnino. I think you meant Kaiser. I think Kaiser and Gucci have very similar managing styles. Gucci's obviously much better, but there's not going to be that much craziness just on Gucci himself. Finstock Exchange is much more than Gucci. Gucci brings the aura. He brings it all together, but it's all of the other competitors that are in it. And I know there's the hypothetical thing. We don't know who's going to be on the exchange. I'm taking it as on the team right now, because that's what we know what the exchange will be. Who knows what the exchange will look like in a few months. But I think that Saul is perfect because there's not going to be many inner geekdom players that the Finstock Exchange is going to be able to pick up without trading some big things for us. And Saul is, you talk about improving. Saul had one match that he lost. He has only can go up. He has so much that he could improve. He can improve. He could succeed. Witt would get lost in the shuffle of the Finstock Exchange. He's a good player. He'd get forgotten. There's no room for him. The faction has potentially 3 teams, 6 singles player, a Star Wars player. He'd be left out of every tournament. There's not a place for him.
Yeah. So so say we are the same team next year or whatever, and the Star Wars team comes up. So benefiting from 2 Star Wars players, say like I have that belt before the next Star Wars tournament. Oh, we need a Star Wars competitor. Andrew can't compete in the tournament. He has the belt. Adam Witt, plug him in. So
I think he'll be able to improve. You won't necessarily to succeed. I mean, it's going to take a lot just for you to get to that point where you get the belt. As far as time,
does it?
It might.
Do I need that much improvement to get that belt?
It took Kevin Smets 8 months before he finally got a championship match. You never know. I'm not saying you need improvement. Yeah, so did he. I'm not saying you need improvement. I'm just saying you'll need time to get there. There's got to be so much that he would have to go for him. Saul would be set up for success right from the get-go. No other intervening players.
I'm actually just more impressed that you actually let me finish the time rather than yield. All right, so we are going to be going into our closing statements here in a minute, but that was a pretty solid debate overall. And I'm not going to lie, I'm actually really impressed with Justin overall. I mean, hearing his Saul, I was like, really? Oh my gosh, what? But at the same time, hearing all those arguments, I was like, you know what? I can see this. I can see this potentially happening really well. And I can see Saul and, working well and being a part of the exchange, but also Adam Witt, he's such a really great, multifaceted competitor. He can you can put him wherever, you just need an extra player as well. What are some of your big takeaways, Ben?
Well, I actually, I'm going to tell you, to be honest with you, in our group chat here with our guest judge, the first thing I wrote, I said, look, no way Saul wins this. I think it's a landslide from the second round starts. By the time the second round had started here, I started to kind of change my tune a little bit, because I have to say the idea that, look, I'm going to be honest. If I was arguing for this question, if it was me in your shoes, my pick would have been literally any player, because it's the greatest faction of all time, and Gucci's the greatest manager ever to live. Literally anyone. That's what I would have said. And I would have made an argument for I would have made 10 examples, because that's just what I would have done, because I believe it's true. But here's the thing. I think Adam Witt, honestly, he's above average in several areas, but so is 30 other people. And every one of those people with the exact same thing would happen. They'd get lost in the shuffle. So I think that's a really tough point to argue against, is that I believe you will be the champion, Andrew. So if it was this season or next season, he's not going to really get a shot. The only thing that you said that really stuck with me there was that if you're the champion and there's a second Star Wars competitor needing to play in a tournament, that's where you could use Adam Witt. But I think it's hard to make an argument for him somewhere else. Now, as far as Saul goes, he does have mic skills, pairing him with Gucci. And I think he's a big personality that if you put him with high-profile players and give him a lot of screen time, maybe he does grow as a player quite a bit. I think that, currently I'd give the edge to you, Justin. I think those are my big takeaways from the match. I do really need to kind of understand what it is about Witt that's going to make him stand out and actually have a place in the faction with so much talent around him. And as far as Saul goes, he's kind of an abrasive dude sometimes. And there's a lot of big A-type personalities in the exchange. John Roca, myself. You got Gucci, very opinionated people that are the best at what they do. Is he going to be able to fit in around that with the attitude that he has, or is he going to get his feathers ruffled and quit and walk off? How do you answer that? Those are my questions.
Absolutely. Not to mention, I can't help it. Adam Wood's my favorite competitors right now. He hasn't played that much, but every time I see he's on screen, I'm like, he's such a delight. He is such he's one of those personalities. He glows when he's on screen. He's phenomenal. Okay.
I have to argue against him. He's amazing.
He is fantastic. I mean, come on. He'd be playing along with you with that like guitar piano situation, if he could. Okay, we are going to be going into our final round. And guys, let's impress us and really solidify these votes with our ghost judge and with Ben. We are going to be starting with Justin since the coin was in your favor. Are you ready for your final closing statement?
Like always, juice is loose.
All right, juice is loose indeed. Starting right now.
I do think Saul would fit very well in the exchange because he is extremely hungry. He's not going to get that focus and support and people texting him questions and whatnot while he's in the den. We have to think about this also. I'm also taking this question literally. Who would most improve and succeed? Saul is right now, he's at the bottom. He's the last person you could pick. He could even a few matches of him winning next year and he would be improved pretty well. But I do think he would succeed also. I think he would be able to be a contender, be a potential champion with the study. Imagine the Barbarian just pouring just months into him, texting him questions, getting him ready. He wouldn't be able to get that at the den. And Wit, I don't think Wit just loves the vibe of the dungeon so much. Seeing him on this show, seeing him talk to the other guys on backstage, he just has so much fun being that dude talks about movies. He doesn't want to be the guy that's constantly training. He wants to work in a video store, not a factory.
He wants to work in a video store, not a factory. Alex, we've heard the line twice. Is that line going to seal it up? I don't know. I want to hear what Andrew Dimalanta has to say.
All right. This is going to be your final closing statement of the day, closing statement of the day. Andrew, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Sure, indeed. Starting right now.
So as far as like how would he fit in the exchange? I mean, the exchange already has some like really big personalities and like just intense personalities. That's the word I was looking for. We need some of the Adam Witt just to liven the air, just to have fun because he's a fun dude. He's fun on air. He's fun to talk to, even though I've only said like 2 words to him in passing. But he's a fun dude, and I think that'd be great to have in the exchanges. To have somebody lighten the mood a bit because I'm so serious. You know, Roka's so serious all the time. But as far as improving in this area, in Star Wars, he's 0-2. There's somebody else here that was 0-2 in the Star Wars division and ended up coming back pretty heavily. So I think the fact that having him, and if we're both on the exchange at the same time, we'll both be able to spar all the time and be able to improve each other. So I think that's a big benefit to have somebody like that come into the exchange and just liven the air and have everybody have fun sometimes because we're so intense.
Time. That's true. Serious people, need a
Serious people need to laugh sometimes.
Need to chill, mellow out a little bit, and thank you for correcting me, Austin. It's called a keytar.
Yeah.
I thought that was a joke, but apparently that's like is that really the name?
Yeah, it's sweet. They're sweet, they're sweet ironic instruments played heavily by Journey in the video for Separate Ways, which is one of the all-time great ridiculous music videos. Yeah.
Ben, I'm just waiting for you to list like your top 10 most iconic music videos of all time. Just waiting for you.
Okay, they're pretty much all in the 80s, other than Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, because him in the Clock Tower is like one of the all-time shots in a music video. But all the rest of them are 80s videos. Like these 3 of them are by Motley Crue. Definitely Separate Ways is probably that might be like the greatest music video of all time. That's the one where they all turn their heads at the same time. It's amazing. It's
so great. I mean, like I love music videos. I'm so sad. I kind of wish they were like more. I don't want to say they're because they are, they are super popular, but they're not like on the same level they used to be. And it's like I'm kind of hoping with most recent Cardi B music video.
I know. I agree. They've kind of fallen off a little bit. But I mean, if you go back and look at some of the classics, I think Take On Me by Aha with the hand drawing, that's like an all-timer. That's an amazing one. Toxic by Britney Spears, where she's like in the sparkles. That's an amazing one. There's a lot of really good ones, but yeah, definitely some of the 80s ones are really offensive, like Motley Crue, like leading women into pens. It's like should never be shown on television again, but it's also ironically horrible to watch. So you could point to that if you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like watching any John Hughes movie, like from like Candles, where you watch them and you're not watching it to be like this is a good movie. You're watching it because this is a learning experience of what not to do.
Yeah, right.
This is the same guitar Ryan Gosling uses in La La Land when he's playing like.
He's on his cover band. Flock of Seagulls, I Ran. Oh, Bon Jovi plays a glory. Sorry, you got me started. Now, and he's there's like a big TV screen, and he's up there, and
music
from Young Guns 2. That's amazing.
Well, speaking of amazing guitar players, Jake, my dude, totally a secret guitar player. It's actually, he just posted in the chat, the link to go vote. You guys, we are going to be actually having Ben and our ghost judge. He's going to be appearing shortly. They're going to be let me know real quickly who they think is going to be the winner of this final round. I'm just going to go ahead and double check. Okay.
Yeah, we're in agreement.
Yes, I just double checked and totally are in agreement. So you guys, just want to dive into it real quickly. And also just want to mention, no one used their 30 seconds of extra time rule. Just want to point that out.
Oh yeah, you got the 30 seconds. When Bibbs and I did it, it was literally just to like mess with each other. So it's a good move.
All good. It's all good. All right. No pun intended, but it's all good. All right. We are just gonna go ahead and announce it. And our winner for the first question being, which exchange single competitor is most likely to get to the final round, winning 2 out of 3 votes in favor of Andrew. And moving on to the second question. From this season, what is the best match that Gucci has managed? And so I encourage you to kind of talk about your personal experiences, promos, challenges, etc. We are going to be, thank you for letting me know, Jake. We're actually going to be moving on to the third one. That was my bad. I apologize. For the third question, that was my bad. What competitor would most improve and succeed by joining the exchange in favor of Justin, scoring 2 out of 3 votes?
The Saul pick was a heavy pick. I got to say, you swung me. That was crazy. I can't believe you, competitor 21 plus, and you managed to get it. You managed to get it done.
I could have kept arguing that for like 50 more minutes.
It's so great. Saul's pretty wonderful. But also Adam. Oh my gosh. I love him so much. He's wonderful. So good. But going back to question number 2 from the season, what is the best match that Gucci has managed? Promos, challenges, personal experiences, etc. Winning 3 out of the 3 votes. It is Andrew Dimalanta.
Oh.
2 out of 3 arguments today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Congrats, AD. Getting it done. Love it. Love to see that.
I couldn't have the Finstock Exchange lose. I had to take one for the team and not do good on that argument.
Well, speaking of Finstock Exchange and everything, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in our ghost judge real quickly. The mysterious ghost judge. Whenever he's okay with,
Ghost judge. He's wearing a shirt.
Oh, sort of.
Sort of.
Are you are you auditioning for The Shadow or something?
I'm
Count Gucci over here. What are you going on here?
I'm Count Gucci-verse. Look, sticks and stones may break my bones, but other factions can't fade us. It doesn't work that way. There were some really good debates here. Mm-hmm. Some really tough debates. The first one, Andrew won by a hair. I mean, it was dangerously close. I agree with, the second one as well. Well, the first one was the Barbarian Roca, right? Was that the first one? Yes. Mm-hmm. Very, very close. But the ultimate deciding factor was experience at this point. And I think really, honestly, that's what it came down to. Both arguments were fantastic, in my opinion, and Ben's. And it was dangerously close. We swayed with the experience at the end, and that's pretty much the way it went. Barbarian.
I think I would
hard.
add to that, Gucci. I
Mhm.
would just add to that really quickly before you move on from it, that I think we both are in agreement that if the Barbarian makes the final round and Roka doesn't, I won't be surprised. It's not going to surprise me. I just think that if it's a 50-50 bet and I've got to bet on one, it has to be experience, because Roka, look, I know how hard it is to be a one-time champ. Roka's a four-time champ. He's a four-time freaking champion. That's so hard to do. So you got to bet on the guy who's got the 4 titles.
Yeah, and Barbarian's path to the championship is not easy as well. Mm-hmm. If he gets to the second, where he has to beat Seabolt first, then he's got to beat Bibiani, then he's got to possibly beat Chance or whoever else. I mean, there's a lot of people in that bracket. It's a very tough bracket. But if anybody can do it, it's the Barbarian, and we all know that. But
I'm sorry, I don't mean
slight edge to Roka just because of experience alone. He's a belt holder a couple of times over.
Yeah. And also remember, Gucci, it is possible. I mean, it is possible. We saw James White play well enough today. James White could beat Bibiani. It's possible, Mm-hmm.
Agreed. It totally can happen. I mean, the way I see it, and then, the second question, I really do believe, yes, Andrew, as we, you didn't really need any help as a competitor answering the questions. There's no question about that. And what we did work on was timing and slowing the process down. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess what you saw there, it was you could have been rattled at that point, and it could have, made you slip back into that kind of like mode you were, in the first couple of matches, which is totally a legitimate point. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. But I think, it was Barbarian's first IG match. Okay. Against Lavick, who has played champions. And yes, he got his clock clean against Smets. He just wasn't ready. But we know he basically works for the MCU. So if we talk beforehand, if Barbarian rolls MCU, I'm like, how good are you in this? He's like, not great, but Lavick is. So getting it there and taking it off the board, and not putting Barbarian in a predicament where he has to answer his 2, 3, and 5 first, or going in, not having the lead into the third round, which I think was huge in that match for sure. But I agree with both points here. We thought Andrew had a little more zest to him on that and a little more conviction in it, and that's why that went that way. Third round, Adam Witt is a pure dungeon guy, or a quirky merc character. I don't know if I would see him on the exchange. Very funny guy. I've had him on the show, the Gucciverse, a couple of times. He's a really interesting person. I didn't really know Saul from a hole in the wall, except for calling in, to Collider Live and a couple other things. But now that I've gotten to know him a little bit and see what he says, he's definitely exchange material. And, we were looking for IG players. If I knew Saul had that kind of charisma, I would have totally went after him on in the draft, or not the draft, the free agent. So yes, he definitely could have made a splash, and I think he played a great game. And him against whatever his name is, that other Yahoo, Hannah. It made for great TV. And what we like to have on the Finstock Exchange is no boredom. Everybody comes to play. And Saul was must-see TV for that match, and so was Hannah. And must-see TV is code name for the Finstock Exchange, and that's for sure. And that's why we gave you that that nod there, Justin. That was for sure.
It would have been different if I picked Molly Damon.
I mean, maybe yeah, Hey, what's that shirt? Is that the Pizza USA shirt?
Custom made. I made this.
Jesus, I was about to say
it was. I didn't make it just to wear it for this. I made it. I was doing a short film with my family, and so nice. I wrote in the Pizza USA story into it. That you basically just line from line what you said when you called in to SEN, and so I'm like playing a character that allegedly works at Pizza USA, but then when a guy goes to check out Pizza USA, there's nobody there, or it's like random guys in there.
It's a great story. It's a true story.
It's fantastic. Yeah,
it's good stuff. Good job, guys.
I am kind of curious, after hearing some of these arguments, is there anyone you're kind of curious to, or you could see potential as exchange faction material?
Pretty much. What do you mean, out of anybody?
Is there anyone that you feel like has exchange potential, essentially?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a couple of people out there that I think would have been really good for the exchange. I'm not going to name any names because I think the people we have here are fantastic. But yeah, and plus I don't want to, give people, free agents are coming up and a bunch of other things when at the end of the year. I don't want anybody to know, what tricks I have up my luxurious Dracula coat.
I mean, yeah, you had very strategic draft moves, Gucci. A lot of value there with your 5th round, your 6th round pick, some value in your 4th round pick as well. Small shot, Yeah, but I think you're going to keep your eyes on the draft again. It's a sad day that we're going to have to see some of this faction break up. Look, the truth of the matter is, who knows if I'll even be here next year? There's too much talent on the thing, right? It's up to you. You got to make the choice and go after the 3 people you're going to want, and that's going to be a tough decision for you to make. So I think there's a lot of great players out there. The one thing I do want everybody who's watching to remember, and this is something I think a lot of people haven't taken total responsibility for. It's not like that every faction is going to keep their 3 and then everybody who's left in the draft is going to be garbage and nobody will be able to get any of the players that were on their faction. I think it's more likely, Gucci, if you wanted to keep your 3, you'll probably be able to get 2 more former exchange people with your first 2 picks in the draft would be my guess.
Yes, not even
depends what happens. Depends what happens, but I think most factions will be able to put most of their roster, the front half of their roster, back together if they want to. And so I do think there's a chance for the exchange to live on a little closer to what it is now. It's just, nobody's getting John Roca in the 4th round this year. That's not happening.
That's not going to happen. No, not at all. And I agree with you. I think, there's also trades, obviously there'll be probably a snake draft. I'm assuming we'll probably get the last pick because we're going to finish first. There's a lot of people making waves right now. There's a lot of other factions out there that are playing really, really well. But like I said, the Finstock Exchange is when the smoke clears type faction. And when the smoke clears, we'll be at the top of the mountain waving the flag.
Do we know when the trade deadline is? Has that been announced?
It's over. It was August 1st.
Oh, okay. The trade deadline's passed.
Yes.
Got it. Yes.
Interesting. Real quickly, kind of going over to the chat. I do want to bring up a super chat. Thank you so much to Movie Finobi. Hope your Schmoebating has been lively. Just showing some love for Alex and Andrew. Can the belt holder be unbiased? JK, hi Ben. I think Danny wants that belt. Shout out to the best Jake there is. Steve. Thank you so much, Steve. We appreciate it. Also, how does that belt feel? Is it heavy for you, Ben?
Feels really good. It's kept a nice and warm, comfortable spot on my shoulder. Alex, can you tell me who's going to be in my wake here? Who am I going to have to potentially play? What's the bracket look like? What's the path back to this?
Well, it's actually funny you say that. Here starting in the fall around, I was thinking in late September, October, we're going to be starting a whole other, bracket of Schmoebate tournament winners, all that good stuff. So if that's something you're pretty interested in, please let me know. I'd love to have you guys on board. So yeah, we're going to be starting that here in the next few weeks. We are going to be continuing with like faction specific debates for the next few months until we wrap that up, and then we're going to be moving along into that tournament. So it's going to be so much fun. Oh my gosh. And
Gucci, are you ever gonna debate? Are you ever gonna? I guess this would have been the Gucci. This would have been the TFE debate. So
yeah, I'll throw my hat into the ring. I mean, when I studied over in Oxford, I was the captain of the debate team, for 6 months.
I thought you went to Juilliard.
Well, that was after Juilliard.
Oh,
I mean, you know competition, right? Because Gucci only spits facts, not opinions.
That's true. That's 100% the truth. It's facts. I've won
PLD in the chat here. I know you're undefeated, Paul. I know you're undefeated. Go back to your cave.
He's won once.
Still undefeated.
It is undefeated. But so is Brett Sheridan. So,
Get out of here.
Just technically, he's won once and he's undefeated. So
Brett was my understudy.
So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for everyone, not only in the chat, everyone that's playing along. I really appreciate it. So we're just going to go ahead and go around and just kind of wrap up and say where everyone can be found. We starting with you, Ben. You have 1,000,001 amazing things you're doing. So can you let us know what we can find you?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys probably already know about Action Industries. We do a lot of fun stuff on there. We're doing a watch along tomorrow night for patrons on the Silence of the Lambs. That should be a lot of fun. We've got another episode of, Action Unfiltered Friday, and then, of course, the Action Guys Sunday. And I have my own thing I've been doing called Nerds in Suits, which this week I'll have Mark Anopic as my guest on Friday. So that should be cool. And if you guys are interested at all, I have been streaming a lot of Magic the Gathering and Twitch, or Magic and Music over on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Ben Bateman streaming. That's like, I've been on it a lot. Sometimes you'll catch me at like 1 a.m., like hammered, just yelling at the computer when I lose like a close match, which is ridiculous, but also is kind of fun. So go follow twitch.tv/Ben Bateman streaming.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
And you might get lucky. He just might leave his computer on the whole night.
Oh God. that's a real.
Well, if I'm like sleeping on the desk, like with drool on the keyboard.
No. He's not. He's Alex. He's not kidding, right? That was the thing that happened last week.
No,
I streamed my living room live with mic and camera on, this exact angle of my living room all night. I forgot to turn it off, and I like lay down on the couch over here, and I like had an hour-long conversation on the phone, and then I went to bed. Luckily, like nothing horrible happened. There were so many ways it could have gone wrong. Drew called me the next day, and he was like, dude, I just thinking about it makes me so uncomfortable for you.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest IRL stream ever.
Yeah.
It was
terrifying.
It was horrific.
That is like low-key Ed TV material right there. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Nice little pull. And over to Justin the Juice. What are you making? What are you doing, my dude? Can we get like a solo or anything coming in from you? Real quick?
I don't know about that. You don't have to follow me on Twitter. I don't really go on there that much, but if you want to check out me tickle a couple ivories on, it's not even on, whatever. If you want to hear me tickle a couple ivories on the keytar, just type in Justin the Juice in the YouTube channel. Give it a check. Not that big a deal. Also want to just say, Andrew, it was an honor.
Oh yeah,
to go up against you. When I saw you were the competitor I was competing against, I was like, oh boy, we're in for a good one. But yeah, no, thank you. This was an awesome opportunity. I never thought I'd be doing something like this. So thank you so much, Alex, and everyone for the support. I'm just glad I got to win one.
You did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Crushed it.
You did fantastic. Can't believe you converted me to really pulling for Saul at a certain point, and I was like,
aggressive.
I never thought that would happen. All right, and over to Andrew. You're doing so many amazing things. You're part one of my favorite Schmoedown podcasts right now. So sorry, Schmoedown rundown, but
yeah. So you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Drew Dimalanta, Dimalanta. I have to spell that every time. On YouTube at Andrew. On YouTube for our weekly shows Beyond the Schmoedown every Mondays, and our Star Wars show Going Rogue every Fridays. Find that at youtube.com/Andrew and Nikki, and also the same on Patreon. Become a member of the Squadron. It's patreon.com/Andrew and Nikki. When we reach 50, we're going to start another podcast. I don't know why we want to try to do that being parents just yet, but so when we hit 50 patrons, we're going to start just a general discussion podcast talking about anything and everything, just whatever comes to our brains. But yeah, so you can find me doing all that stuff there.
And podcast number 52 coming in hot. I'm excited to listen potentially in the near future. And last but definitely not least, Count Chocula, where can we find you?
I am. Well, my tan, I'm starting to look Spanish. Obviously the Gucci-verse, we're doing big things over there. We have a show coming on in another half hour called As Gucci. We have Rachel Silvestrini on it, Dwayne Burke, the homeboy Larry Payne. We run some interesting stuff over there. And Friday nights we have Late Night with Gucci and Kaiser. Saturday we run the Gucci-verse. Then we're popping up everywhere, man. We're trying to getting us to 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube so we can make some super chats and do some really cool stuff. So if anybody who hasn't subscribed over there, pop on that and do that. We're putting out some different content for people, it's all real talk. It's all fun. And everybody loves each other. And, you get to dive into people's personalities that you see on a daily basis, talking about movies, not talking about movies. And that's something we wanted to do with the channel. And I think that's what we're doing over there. So yeah. And, at Bobby and the Juice on Twitter, or at Bob Finstock on pretty much everything else, just doing it, rocking and rolling. Catch me on the Schmoedown pretty much every single day this week as well. And let's go Dan Murrow on Friday. Let's get that.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's going to be such a great match overall. I do want to give a quick shout out to Jake as well. He's been doing a lot of stuff in the background. We appreciate you so much, my dude, for, not only making thumbnails, but like posting the links and all that good stuff. Everything is in the chat everything, all these links, for, Beyond the Schmoedown, Gucciverse, the Twitch for Andrew Dimalanta, all that good stuff. Everything is in the description box below. So definitely, click away and check all those out. And guys, I'm Alex Mack, part of the Call to Action crew. You can find me on Twitter at RealAlexMack right there. I host a show called Schmoebates on Tuesdays where we dive into a movie that really kind of challenges both Drew and I. And that's a movie that one of us hasn't seen. We're going to be we just dive into Akira. We are going to be diving into Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's my favorite.
I hate that movie so much.
You hate it?
Oh my gosh, I hated it. That movie gives me such anxiety. The entire time I was like pulling my gram out, like, oh yeah, no.
No dice.
Oh yeah, no. But yeah, so but you can find me there. Also, mornings with the Outlaw with Roka, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We kind of dive into a bunch of movie news right before Sun, so at CN. So it's a real fun time. But yeah, that's everything, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you, and come hang out with us next week on next week's of Schmoebates, where we are going to be diving into the faction swag. So it's going to be a real fun time. Oh, yeah. It's going to get intense. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night and stay safe. Wear a mask. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Yep.